There are those who criticize our commitment to diplomacy for investing so much effort in trying to resolve conflicts that seem intractable. But here's the truth. Conflicts and wars do not end on their own. Breakthroughs do not just happen. Agreements don't right themselves. It takes diplomacy, being willing to sit down with others, sometimes with adversaries, sometimes with people whose values are completely contradictory to our own. But as John always says, we have to try. This Secretary of State from Massachusetts follows on the heels of the original JFK from Massachusetts, who said, let's never negotiate out of fear, but let us never fear to negotiate. And we've seen the results. Thanks to John, but also, most importantly, thanks to so many of you. The historic democratic transition in Afghanistan, chemical weapons removed from Syria, the Iran nuclear deal, detained Americans coming home, the Paris Climate Agreement, the cessation of hostilities in the Syrian civil war. That's strong principled diplomacy at work. We're going to have to keep pushing on the diplomatic front because that's the only way that the larger Syrian conflict will end, with a political transition and an inclusive Syrian government. We're going to have to keep strengthening partnerships from West Africa, as we saw again yesterday in Cote d'Ivoire, to Afghanistan. These countries are battling terrorism. They need our help. And we're going to have to keep working with allies and partners to stabilize Libya and Yemen. We have to keep living up to our values and move ahead on our plan, including safely transferring detainees to finally close the detention center at Guantanamo Bay. We are not going to stop making the effort to do that. And your teams represent the very best of America. I think over the last 3.5 years, people have been calling me a lame duck, and somehow we've gotten a lot done. And what I always tell my team in the White House, what I tell my cabinet secretaries, and what I want to share with all of you, is we had this unique honor of serving our country at these challenging times, and there are some young people here who will continue to serve our country in various capacities in the future. But for many of us, this is the point at which we will have the most impact, have the capacity to do the most good that we may ever have in our lives.